Hi everyone, thanks again for joining Christy's Cookbook Chronicles, where I'm going to cook my way through all of the cookbooks that I have curated over the years. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. The first cookbook we're cooking out of is this cookbook, which is African American Heritage Cookbook by Carolyn Quick Tillery. And it is featuring recipes from the Tuskegee Institute, a historically Black university in the States. So our first recipe again is going to be a beverage, and it's called Grandma's Spice Tea Punch. And for all those following along, in the description you'll get a list of all of the ingredients, and I'm going to show you all of the ingredients here. I have them all set and ready to go, and chefs will call that having your mise en place, and that just means basically have all your stuff ready to go so that you don't hit a snag while you're cooking. So let's go. So here's all of our mise en place, which again means to have everything ready. The recipe called for 3 tablespoons each of a loose black tea, a loose cinnamon tea, and a loose orange tea. And I kind of gamed it a bit today because I went to our local store, which is called Nutrisal à Granel. That's it right there. Thank you to Sage for the recommendation. They have the most amazing organic loose teas. And I fell in love with this one tea right here. It is Exoticos Frutos, which means exotic fruits, and it has apples and papaya, melon, pineapples, all kinds of goodness, and it smells amazing. So I decided I would substitute a little bit and go with the Exoticos Frutos and some dehydrated oranges for the orange flavor, along with doubling up on the black tea. So feel free to play with things in your own kitchen. You are able to make things your own. Just because you have a recipe doesn't mean you have to stick to it. You should use it as a foundation for what you're going to do. So along with that, we have our spices, which were the whole cloves, the allspice berries, and the cinnamon. And again, because I didn't go to cinnamon tea, instead of the 1-inch piece of cinnamon, I'm gonna go with a whole stick, and we'll see what happens. We've got our quart of water, 4 cups equals a quart. We have our quart of pineapple juice. We have our sugar, 1.5 cups. And I'm just showing you what the tea infuser looks like if you don't have one. This is what you put loose tea in so that you can steep your tea without the leaves being all in your drink when you're finished. And also, instead of the infuser though, I'm going to put mine into this tea bag, and we're going to go from there. So our next step is to boil the water. So I'm putting my ingredients into this Dutch oven just because I don't want to put it into a metal container. Metal is reactive with citrus, a lot of times with acid, and so just to be safe, I'm putting my water and the teas in this enamel Dutch oven that I have. So we're going to put the water in. And we're going to let that come. Of course, the oven is a cooktop. Sometimes if you don't put your temperature on right away, it will turn itself off as a safety measure, which is great. But we're going to let this water come to a rolling boil, and then we will put our tea leaves in along with the spices and let that steep for several minutes. So I'll be back in a few after this gets to boiling. So here's our gorgeous tea. Hopefully you've taken yours off the burner after it came to a rolling boil. You put your loose tea in a tea bag or an infuser, and your spices in there, and let them steep for 10 minutes. This is mine that we've steeped for the 10 minutes. It's so pretty. If you look close, you'll see a few errant loose tea leaves. That's my fault because I overstuffed my stainless steel tea infuser, but it's an easy fix. If you have a fine mesh strainer like this one, you can just pour it through there before you put it in your final container and catch those errant tea leaves. So I am very happy with the way this smells and tastes after having substituted the exotic fruit tea for the orange tea and just having some dehydrated orange slices. It's fabulous. And like I said, use a recipe as your foundation. It is
there for you to be creative and to let loose your ideas. It shouldn't be a chore to you. It should feel like fun and a way to express yourself. So that's what I did. I changed up the recipe a little tiny bit because it's my kitchen, or as the Portuguese would say, cozinha, and who's going to check me? So we're going to put some sugar in this while it's still warm, and then we'll let it cool off and add our juice and our garnishes and put it in our new container and let it refrigerate. But right now we're going to put the sugar in it because we need to let it dissolve while it's warm. But take your spices and everything out before you add the sugar. Okay, once again, we've removed all of our loose teas and spices and anything else you might have felt free to add while your tea was steeping. Again, there's a few errant tea leaves, but we'll strain those out later. Right now, let's add our sugar so that it has a chance to dissolve. So that's your 1.5 cups of sugar. We'll give that a good stir. And we're going to let this cool off before we add our pineapple juice.
So now our tea hasn't had a chance to cool off. We've added our sugar, and we're going to just pour it into our container and add the pineapple juice and a few sprigs of mint, and we're done. As you maybe can see, I've opted to leave the cinnamon stick in. Again, I left my dehydrated oranges and cinnamon sticks in my pitcher because it's my cozinha. Who gonna check me? And I encourage you to do the same. If you want to jazz it up a bit, you don't have to adhere strictly to the recipe. This is me jazzing it up a bit. I strained my loose errant tea leaves, like I said, and so I was able to capture all of those. Now we're going to put our tea in there. We're going to add our pineapple juice. Well, this is not fresh, but it's pretty fresh from my local continent that I adore. So add our pineapple juice. The word in Portuguese for pineapple is ananá. So this is ananas. Adding that in. And I'm going to add some fresh sprigs of mint. So there you have it. We finished our grandma spice tea punch with pineapple, fresh loose tea, mint, and whatever you decide to do to yours. It's delicious. So thanks again for joining me on Christy's Cookbook Chronicles and making our first recipe together. The next recipe we'll be making is a cucumber and onion salad, which is super simple. It's basically cucumber, sour cream, onions, and a few other little small ingredients, and I'll list that in the comments of this video, the description of this video. And I hope that you're enjoying this journey of cooking. You guys helped me discover a new store in my city today, which was Nutricel e Granel. You guys helped me find something new today, and I'm thankful for that. See you next time.